Hello everyone, A-levels are starting around this time, and if you're stressing out then please don't worry because there is still some time to save the day and your grades. I went through this, I know how stressful it is. It's been just a year, but I remember it very vividly. And in this video I'd like to share with you my tips, how not to stress out and how to really make the most out of this. First, and the most important one, is not to just passively reread your revision notes and your materials, but rather actively try to put things out of your brain, because that's what you're gonna do in the exam room. This means that anytime you're revising something from a piece of paper, you read the topic, then you cover it with your hand and you try to recall the information that's on that sheet of paper. Because when you don't do this and when you just read it over and over again, you get a full sense of knowing things, when in reality you do not really know them. Every time you will be tempted to just read that one page, ask yourself one question about that specific topic and try to answer it before you check the answer. This will force your brain to remember information, because otherwise it will just go from one ear to another and somewhere where you won't be able to find it and pull it out during your exam. The second thing is to check last year's exam and notice a pattern in the topics that came up. This is very useful, especially for subjects like economics, because there's a huge amount of topics that can come up, and if you want to be strategic and plan around which one to prepare better for, it's good to see what came up last year and the year before, because there is very low chance that what came up last year is gonna come up again in the exact same wording, but it could be the same type of question or very similar. So when you go through this older papers, not just random exam questions that your teacher gave you, but when you really check the papers from the beginning to the end, from the last, let's say, 6 to 8 years, then you will see how the questions repeat and you can kind of guess what can come up, and then during the exam you'll just open it and be like, I did this question, it was 4 or 5 years ago. My next hack is closely linked to my previous point, and it's about studying mark schemes very carefully, to create a template in your brain how to answer specific types of questions. I'm not talking about memorizing mark scheme, but understanding their structure and the way how they make the answers sound logical. So create a template in your head. How are you going to structure your answer? This is a key to successfully answer every question in the exam and to prevent silly exam mistakes, which I made a video about. You can watch it up here. Every time you will see a question in the exam, your brain will know exactly how to answer that type of question. And it's going to be much easier for you. You will just fill in the content for that specific question, but you will know how to do that. For example, in biology, you've got 6 markers, you've got 4 markers, some of them are applications, some of them are analysis. When you're studying carefully these mark schemes and example answers, then you just apply your knowledge to these mental templates you created in advance during this last-minute revision, and then there is a high chance that you won't miss them out. If you're really running out of the time, it's useful to find summary notes and revision materials online. This is especially true for subjects that require a lot of time to do those notes. My favorite source of revision notes for biology was Physics and Maths Tutor, but it's Physics and Maths Tutor, so if you're studying chemistry, physics, or maths, you will find plenty of materials there, and it's really good to also check these example summary notes with your own materials to see if you manage to incorporate the key points into your own notes, and if not, you will see what you missed, so you can focus on that. When you don't have much time in between your exams, this can really help to find really what's the most important and what you should focus on your precious time. Last day or two before the exam, it is more important to review your past mistakes rather than doing more and more papers, because your brain is learning from past experience and after repeated exposure. So when you go through something what you already covered and see what you did wrong, you are more likely to remember it than if you do till last minute more and more papers. If you do a brand new paper before your real paper, let's say you have an exam in the afternoon and you do one in the morning, there is very low chance that you will learn a lot from that morning paper, because you will be much better equipped for your afternoon exam with going through the most common mistakes of all the past papers that you have done up to this point. Don't forget that teachers are your best friends and they can give you last minute advice too. They can give you their recommendations for what you should focus on. Pay attention in revision classes with your teachers, because they can point out to some specific topics. If you don't have revision classes together, rather than go and find your teachers and ask them yourself what do they think will come up, and focus on these topics rather than going through some random one you find important. That will come up for sure. That's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up so more people will find out about this video, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye.